Hello everybody, welcome back to our crypto spiritual energy update. And new here with this episode, we're starting our integrity rating. So this is something that these empaths, visionaries and energetically sensitives have been working on the background, namely an energy-based integrity check on ICOs, on tokens and exchanges. So after we're done discussing sort of the energies of this week here for May 11th till 17th, the upcoming week 20, we're going to publish the results of our integrity test for these companies that we're going to introduce. Welcome back. This is a live stream. I hope you can see me now. If you have any questions, please comment. Let me know where you're watching from. This is always good. Even though it's a bit more stress to do live streams, it always feels good to know that I'm not alone. All right, so this week, as you've probably noticed, there was a little bit of FUD, FUD, fear and uncertainty induced by some of these icons in the investment and computer software industry, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. That was sort of the drama of the week. He was slamming Bitcoin, and it was once more, a witness of when so-called experts, and they are experts in what they're doing undoubtedly, but when they talk about something that they may not be an expert in, and they were talking about Bitcoin and how Bitcoin is not a good investment. This is, of course, something maybe that they have to say simply because the volatility is too high, it's unregulated, and this creates a lot of pressure right now on the governing authorities such as the SEC and the CFTC here in the United States, because for as long as there's uncertainty about what will the legal situations be, what will be the status of cryptocurrencies and tokens, what will they be classified as, and how do they have to be treated legally? As long as that is kind of up in the air, it creates a very uncertain environment, not only for investors, but also for the companies who are developing software or developing products that they would like to fund or introduce into the blockchain technology. And so this has been the discussion here, the effects on the price of most of the tokens here this last week, including the market cap, was sort of a sideways movement. So very stable, but we weren't able to really break the $10,000 mark for Bitcoin, which is a very, very strong psychological barrier and sort of a signal for, yes, finally, we're entering into the early adapters phase here within our crypto sphere. Now, I've just finished the weekly collective energy update, and there I explained sort of the overall situation, the overall sentiment that is there. And the way this plays out here into our cryptocurrency world is that there's a need to make conscious decisions. There's a need to really make a stance for certain things. And a lot of these companies mentioned they can't do this yet. Okay, so they're waiting for, like all these restrictions that we have, especially here in the United States, to be lifted. So whereas I called it a conscious choice in the collective energy update, I'm calling it decision making here in the crypto energy update, because some of that is not in our hands. Okay, so as investors, we can only do our own research, the DYOR, DYOR, and sort of check out what we can really discern here as integrous companies. And for that, we really need to be in this place of understanding, without needing to become experts, but of understanding, what makes a project actually an integrous project. And this is what we've been working on here at Crypto Spiritual. That's part of the service that we offer, is testing of projects, contracts, partners, business ideas, and so forth for companies, but not based on our opinion or the stats or the technical data that we can all research. No, based on their energy level, based on their integrity level. And for this, we have created three major categories in which we will publish new ratings every week. One is the tokens, the coins itself, and the companies behind that. The ICO, so tokens in ICO stage, and exchanges. All right, because these are the main three things that we as users, as investors, kind of need to look at right now in order to get to this place that we can make educated decisions. All right, now you're gonna probably rip me apart for some of these results here, and it's very difficult when you see this because it's not based on stats or facts. It's based on their energy level, and the energy level can only be measured by somebody who actually is trained in discerning energy levels. Okay, this is something we teach here at transCODES. transCODES is the proud sponsor of the Crypto Spiritual Energy Update. That's why we don't need ads with these videos. And we're also utilizing this for crypto staff, or another of our companies in our organization here that helps people to find jobs in the crypto industry. So these are things that we here use as discernment tool. All right, and when you look at these ratings that we come up with, you'll see numerical values, and those numerical values are based on Dr. Hawkins's map of consciousness. So some of you, who have been around the consciousness development scene for a while, may be familiar with this. So we're actually testing the truth level of these organizations, and we've divided this into three categories, exchanges only into two categories, namely the token itself, which is primarily where the money is located, then the people and the organization behind the token, and then thirdly the technology or the project or the concept. So one of the things that we found out when we were testing ICOs, that we got really, really low values for the technology, and that is because most of these ICO companies or ICO projects, they don't actually have a product yet, and so it tests really low. So we had to refine our testing a little bit. So this is the preliminary way of how we test or compose the integrity level, namely out of three different factors, and then we calculate the median, and out of the median comes an overall assessment of this token / company overall. And what you are getting here, you will see this here when you see the ratings for these three companies that we've picked here for this week. You're not getting investment advice. I mean, none of this is investment advice anyway. But for those of you who've entered the cryptosphere based on integrity, based on vibratory level, based on, there's a transformative power that is coming in here into our matrix, into this old system, this old paradigm. Okay, for those of you, these ratings may actually be quite important. Now, how does it play out or affect your decision making in the practical as far as like investing is concerned? Some tokens really offer a very good chance of getting high levels of ROIs, return of investment, and I've participated in those in the past myself, just basically to see what happens. All right, and it's really, really tempting, some of these 100x or 1000x multiplications of your investments. But if the companies themselves do not have a high enough integrity level, then it cannot really be looked as an investment. You may be able to maximize your gains here based on greed, based on like making as much money as possible on the short term as a day trader perhaps. But for most of you here who enter the crypto sphere based on wanting to support a system that supports the overall paradigm shift here for our societies, for these companies with low integrity level will most likely not be attractive. Now, some of you will feel this intuitively, and it will confirm, some of the intuition, the feeling that you have for some of these tokens. And some of these ratings will actually surprise you, and mostly because what comes in quite frequently as a restricting factor is the integrity level of the people involved. All right, so this can be quite an interesting thing. I myself was quite shocked actually at that here and there, because I had a very good feeling for the technology, and an integrity level of the project itself, and yet the people who run the company, who make the decisions, or who are behind the scenes, who have a controlling factor in the company, do not really come in with a very high integrity level. And so you can see that it gets quite complex when you want to rate this. And so this is why we divided this into these three factors. Now, when it comes to exchanges, we've only used two of them, namely the exchange itself, and this is what we see. This is the technology, it's the application, it's like how we use it. Also, and here the integrity level will play out, in ways such as how safe is this exchange? How decentralized is it? How supporting is it? Okay, because as soon as something gets more centralized, and as soon as the data handling and the data management behind the exchange becomes restricted, okay, and is used for self-gain, then the integrity level of an exchange drops. So we only have the exchange as such, and then the organization, the people behind it for exchanges. But before we get there here, real quick, how is the crypto energy here for this next week, and what can we expect? There's a very, very interesting energy coming in, since these last 2 weeks. And this is sort of a breakthrough energy, okay? We really want to break through. Next week, though, carries a lot of conflict, a lot of confrontation. And by the way, I forgot to greet you guys. Hello, everybody coming in here from all over the world: Australia, Trinidad, United States. I don't know where you guys are all from. Let me know where you guys are all from. It's cool to have you here. Please feel free to comment or to ask questions about some of these things. So this breakthrough energy is meeting a little bit of confrontation this week. And so we need to be really, really sure that we know what these core values, these integrity values that we have, what those are. And this is why I'm talking about integrity this week here, because this will strengthen our position. And you have to excuse me here, I'm dealing with some fifth chakra issues. Sorry for this, guys. Let me drink a sip of water here. The affected chakras this week will be the first, the fifth, and the sixth. And the first chakra, when the first chakra is activated in the collective energies, the way this plays out in the crypto sentiment, if you will, in form of crypto energies, is that there's a lot of pump and dump. Okay, so controversies, a lot of like hypes, a lot of like going up very fast, and then going low very fast. So prepare yourselves for a little bit of volatility here next week. When the fifth chakra comes in, this is usually when we see corporations forming, a lot of announcement of corporations, which is generally really good. We also want to see regulations now. We really want things to, to come to a closure and so that we know what is the investment process, so that like Americans, for instance, can participate in ICOs again. Unless you are a registered investor, with these benchmarks that I mentioned last week. In fifth chakra weeks, you're going to see a lot of that that wants to come through. And overall, I think it's going to be a really good week. And I have a good feeling about breaking through that $10,000 Bitcoin support there. However, we need to be careful not to go into too much speculation. So my overall assessment of the crypto sentiment right now, the sideways movement is really a consolidation, it's a centering, and that's actually a really good phenomenon, as opposed to like these really uncontrolled rises that we saw in the beginning of December last year, which then led to, the dump part again. Now, overall, there's also a stronger influx of institutional money now, and we've seen a lot of announcements of bigger companies such as Goldman Sachs last week, investment companies, but also more and more, corporations here with financial companies, fintech companies who are starting to support cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this is a good movement. Again, here we need to make sure that we don't fall for too much of the speculation and still use, our discernment, for research, and so that that we know what we're investing in. One of the things that came forward as keyword here for this next week is DODL, and this is not really a meme. This is something that I've invented myself, which is sort of the manifestation, or the true expression of cryptocurrency in use in our daily lives. Okay, so this is sort of finding this middle ground, or the yin yang between hodling and dawdling, being sort of using your cryptocurrencies. Okay, we need to apply them more, and the dawdle part here is this the deed in it, the action in it. And many of us want to hodl. We don't want to use our cryptocurrencies because we of course see the great potential that we have. And so next week we're going to have to come into a balance of all that. All right. The best way to actually motivate the dawdling is, if you have your own company, and if you are considering to accept cryptocurrencies, then to look at these software applications that allow you the integration. Most of these payment processing systems, they convert, a crypto payment into fiat money, and then, it's really, it just uses it like a transfer. But there are some companies that we've already talked about here, like UTrust, and some others that try to integrate the payment of any type of cryptocurrency, just like how we've seen PayPal doing this, like 10 years ago, So these are things that you want to look at. And myself, I accept cryptocurrencies as payment for my services here at Crypto Staffer and transCODES, but it still has to go through this fiat conversion. So I'm kind of in this situation of waiting for things to come. And this then gives me the bridge here to our integrity tests for ICOs, tokens, and exchanges. And I want to start with ICO because, in times where 5th and 6th chakra, when they are activated, those are good times for ICOs. All right. And so this is maybe something that you want to research a bit. I'm not giving you the research here. What I'm giving you is the integrity test based on these factors that I've explained here a little bit ago. So the ICO that we decided to integrity test this week is called MFChain. It's actually something that Crypto Daily recommended and did a review on. So if you would like to get a bit more data and a sort of data-based rating, then watch Crypto Daily's video on MFChain. The abbreviation for MFChain is MFX, and they're currently in pre-sale state, which means they're going to be launching their ICO soon, in about 2 weeks, May 25th, if I'm correct. And what you are seeing here, and this is actually a whole new paradigm of looking at investments, and I really want you to keep in mind that this is not a rating based on technical data. This is a rating that is based on purely on the energy. And so first we tested the token itself, the money aspect of that, the distribution and so forth. Not so much, again, the technical aspect to it, but the integrity level of it. And MFChain actually has a relatively high integrity level. The scale that we use is a numerical scale, a logarithmic scale from 0 to 1,000, and this may seem like nothing, 271, but within this energetic power rating that we have, this is a value that calibrates a company above truth, above integrity, and makes it trustworthy. So 271 is actually a pretty good value, one of the highest values that I have come across here testing any of the companies in the cryptocurrency sphere. The people and the organization behind MFChain calibrates lower, calibrates below 200. So 200 here is our truth mark, okay? This is common now, also something that I've learned from testing various companies in the cryptocurrency sphere, simply because even though people may think they have really good intentions, a lot of this though is still based on, becoming rich overnight. And there's also like a pride aspect to it. There's an ego aspect to it. And anything that's ego-based cannot be truth-based. And so this company here, while it calibrates on 198, which seems low because it's below 200, still one of the highest ratings that I've had for the people in the organizations or the controlling factors behind the company here, right at the truth level. And and this was actually surprising to me, not that I didn't expect this, because I actually like the company too, but it has, the testing has nothing to do with me liking it or not. But the white paper actually, even though it has some, sort of blind spots, and things that are not completely written out. So from a technical standpoint, you can criticize the white paper, but from an energetic standpoint, the project and the white paper, so it's the whole conglomerate here, the concept of this company or this token is very, very high. And so the median here comes down to 260, which makes this actually a very trustworthy project, and will produce satisfactory investment. Does it tell us if it's, if we can get rich overnight? Not at all. Once more, this is not financial advice or any kind of trading call or anything. It just gives you a different perspective here on these companies that you're dealing with. What this number tells me, what this rating tells me, that this is a good long-term investment, and that if there's not a drastic change of, like say, maybe a management, then or products that are below this kind of product that they're introducing with the ICO, that we can expect some good things from them in the long run. Okay, so this can be a good company. The token that we chose to test this week is EOS, and maybe for a good reason, because there's quite a bit of controversy around EOS. Okay, there's things about the co-founders. There's things about these extreme hypes that EOS has experienced here in the last couple of weeks. It's currently in the top 10 of all tokens, has huge market capitalization, and yet not even a single product out yet. It had a 1-year ICO, and all these things could be red flags. And so we really put this to the test here. And when we tested the token and, the overall investment, so to speak, we got a 240. That means that it's above truth, but it is not yet trustworthy. Okay? And when something is not trustworthy, it means that there may be other agendas, okay, that can overrule the overall integrity. The people in the team involved here actually calibrated relatively low at 170, and there's 177. The energies that came across with that was scorn and sort of the need to prove something to the world, the need to validate something, and not very trustworthy. And the technology, the project itself, calibrated over 200, that's good, just barely over 200 with 216. So the overall rating actually came out to 216, and that means as an investment, it's okay. I'd say it's just okay. But this calibration does not promise for a very long-term potential here. So this could be, a good investment, maybe for 2018, 2019, but I don't think that we are going to see huge, big, sort of breakthroughs coming from EOS. And again, please don't beat me up here. This is not my personal opinion. This is something that comes from energetic testing. And energetic testing is something that in some areas such as medicine, such as energy healing, but also, for company decisions or any kind of decision making can be very helpful. People used to use kinesiology for it, and some people still do. We have a mixture here. The people that do the testing with me, they do it in a different way. We allow people to do it in their way. I do a mixture of kinesiology, remote viewing, and precognition through just the energy ability that I have. Some do just kinesiology, and some just use their clairvoyance or their psychic abilities. So we try to create a round picture here so that it is not too limited to just the subjectivity of it. Kinesiology is actually, from my perspective as an energy healer, a clear-cut system that can be used for discerning. It's the same with dowsing. Those of you guys who can use pendulums, you can do this too. So the third in the row here for this week is an exchange that we tested, and I've already explained in the beginning why we've only tested the exchange itself, the application, the safety aspect of it. So these are all things that play into this, and the people in the organization, because there is really no sort of token. If an exchange such as Binance, for instance, has a token as well, then we will test the token, but separately as a token. So here, for this week, we've chosen Bitfinex as exchange, and the integrity level of the exchange, and with it also the safety and some of the personal data management, data sharing, data safety aspects tested below truth, meaning that it did not really get an okay. So when somebody asked me about a token or an ICO or an exchange, an answer from me will often be, it did not pass my integrity test. Okay, and this Bitfinex did not pass our integrity test. But let's look, just a little deeper into it. So the exchange itself and the data aspect of Bitfinex calibrated at 190. I mean, this is, showing a lot of pride. It's showing a lot of greed. And then that's to be expected, I mean, if I want to make money, then the cryptocurrency sphere, and especially exchanges, we all know this, they make a lot of money, and they have tremendous fees, and work with our money. That's not integrous per se. This doesn't mean that it's criminal, but it's just not integrous because there's somebody else that, sort of takes gain out of, our investment, sort of as a middleman, and that's kind of against the crypto spirit, if you will, the original Satoshi idea, of decentralizing and cutting out the middlemen. So based on that, it's coming to 190, and the people in the organization, and this is now quite alarming, calibrates very low at 117 only, and that actually puts it into the criminal range. Okay, so just so you know, I did not look up the team. I did not study the team for energetic calibration. This is not needed. And I actually avoid this because if I'm preoccupied, say maybe knowing some of the names, then the rating could be influenced. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the testers did not know what they were testing. So it's a blind testing, and the only person who knows what they're testing is the tasker, which is me. The total here came out for Bitfinex at 153, which is relatively low, guys. So if you're asking me about Bitfinex, should I use Bitfinex as an exchange, my answer will probably be no. It is not trustworthy, very aggressive in its energy, and based on self-gain. Self-gain is okay. I mean, we all came here to a degree, to make money, but self-gain at all cost, which means most likely at your cost as well, maybe in regards of a lack of safety or lack of respect, what privacy of your data and so forth is concerned. So I hope that this, besides the coughing here today, that this opened up a new perspective for you, and I hope you liked what you saw. If you are interested in learning, how to do this, then you would have to visit me at transCODES.com. At transCODES, we do these energy trainings. We teach people how to discern energies, how to calibrate energies, how to become an energy healer, or how to integrate energy work into their profession. And if you are interested in, what kind of jobs in the crypto industry may be interesting for you, then visit us at cryptostaffer.com. And if you just want to know what sort of the crypto spiritual energy of the week is, then come back here next week, same time, and let me know what you guys want us to rate. Okay, so in the description here of this video, let us know which companies, which tokens, which ICOs you want us to test. We have been doing testings here over the last 6 months, and we will retest them for you just because the integrity level of a company can change, like say with the change in management or with them changing the white paper and so forth. It has nothing to do with the success of a token. So please let me know what you want us to test. 1 ICO, 1 token, 1 exchange every week. All right? Thank you guys. Have a good week. Bye-bye.